What's up, everybody? This is episode 51 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. Shout outs to everybody that's been supporting thus far. For those who haven't seen my episodes, check it out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. You'll definitely love it. But without further ado, we have a very special guest today. This guy was named after an R&B singer in the 1980s. But also, this guy was in New York, is one of the biggest figures in New York basketball right now. He played for the Gauchos, went to the illustrious Rice High School, played for 2 Division I schools in Seton Hall and Iona, graduated from John Jay College, and has worked from Nike, Jordan Brand, Under Armour, Game 7 Marketing, and is now an agent. I give you Kashif Pratt. Cash, thank you for
Thanks for
coming.
having me there. I see I didn't make the top 50. I'm cool with 51 though. I'm cool with 51.
Top 100.
Cool. Yeah, I'm 51. I'm the first guy on the 50 to 100 list. That ain't bad.
Yeah, man. So we're gonna start, from the very beginning. Talk about basketball. When did that start for you?
5 years old. Basketball started 5 years old for me in the Gaucho gym. My uncle told my dad, it's like, listen, you need to put him in organized basketball. The Gauchos do a Saturday, Sunday program. You had, Russ Smith, Eric Andrews, Tommy Swin, Dwayne Campbell, Dwayne Mitchell. You had a lot of those coaches over there is doing skills and drills and simple developmental stuff on Saturday and Sundays, and it was amazing. So, it was guys like me, Antoine Harris, Darryl Crawford. We was a lot of us young guys. Little Russ Smith was, 2-3 years old trying to shoot a basketball. By the time we got 7, he was 4 or 5, and he was up there playing with us. So it was amazing.
So talk about, growing up in Soundview, and what's the basketball culture like in the Bronx?
Oh, well, I'm from Bronxdale Projects, in the Soundview section. Just in that area alone, you got my projects, Bronxdale, Castle Hill, Monroe Project, Soundview, Lafayette, Stevenson Commons. You got Bronx River, around the corner. So, Parkchester is close. So it's a lot of ball players from that area, man. Kenny Satterfield, Andre Barrett, Corey Fisher, Kemba Walker, Saquon and Nicoy Singleton. You got, Eric Jones and those guys from Parkchester. You got, Mike Glover, Hank Glover from Bronx River. Maybe some guys I left out, Bevon Robin, Reggie Freeman, Carl Krauser, Louis Mikrowski. So, there was a lot of guys that were older than me, and, growing up watching them, just like, hey, I want to get to where they at. So it was real inspirational in the Soundview section. A lot of violence, like everyone everywhere else. People know that, but if you play basketball in the Soundview section, guys protected you. You didn't really you stayed out of trouble. You stayed away from those things. So that was real good.
Bronxdale, is that where the by the highway?
Yes, that's by the highway. Famous CeeLo's restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
So it's right there by the highway.
Yeah, I used to hang out there back in the day. A friend of mine that I went to high school with, shout out to my guy Rob Green. He lived on Boynton Ave.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk about, playing for the Gauchos from early on to graduation.
Yeah. So playing for the Gauchos was great. I was probably the youngest guy at the time to go on a trip in 97. I would say 98, 96. I was probably the youngest guy to ever go on a trip. I was 7 years old. We went to Greensboro, North Carolina. I was playing with the 9 and under team. So yeah, it was amazing. I was 8. Sorry, I was 8. It was 97. I was 8 playing with the 10 and under team.
Wow.
And I was the youngest kid to go on a trip. Playing with guys like Jarrell Mills, Chris Noel, and the older guys. You had Wes Wicks, Dante. You had Marvin McCullough, Marlon Smith, Malcolm Jones. So it was a lot of guys in the program that you looked up to. It was big.
So
go ahead.
Oh yeah. So You wound up going to St. Ray's Elementary from probably kindergarten through high school.
No, I didn't
junior high.
Yeah, junior high. I didn't go to St. Raymond's till 7th grade. So
okay.
What I used to do was I went to Flags 98 for 5th grade, 6th grade, and we didn't have a basketball team. And so what I would do is, like, if either I would go home, do my homework, or I would go to Gauchos to do my homework, because I knew if I go to Gauchos, I can watch Rice practice. And I would go watch Rice practice, Kenny Satterfield, Andre Barrett, and those guys. So I would go watch those guys practice, Kyle Cuff, Andre Sweet, you know what I'm saying? Kiki, Jay Wingate, Christian Brown, Kevin Bell, Shaggy. Shaggy lives in our neighborhood as well. So, like, I knew those guys. So I used to go watch them practice. And then on certain days, I would go to St. Raymond's Elementary School. 3 of my best friends, 4 went to St. Raymond's Elementary School, right? 4 or 5 of them. It was Dorvell Carter. It was George Wilkinson, Corey Fisher, PJ, Paul Foster, and Ian Umpierre. They all went to St. Raymond's Elementary School. And I would go watch them play their middle school games and everything. And Dana Dingle, used to see me come to the games. He's another, legend from the Bronx, from Parkchester. And he had told my parents that he can get me into St. Raymond's Middle School. And he told me that, he wanted me to come play 2 terms with the Lightning. And, my Gaucho coaches were fine with it. They understood, getting me out of public school into Catholic school. It was a blessing. I knew I wanted to go to, Catholic school for high school. So it was a good thing. It was, I started off, struggling academically a little bit because it was different going from public to Catholic, but, I picked it up. So that's how I started. I was in St. Raymond's Elementary from 7th and 8th grade. And 9th grade, of course, I went to Rice High School.
Talk about, the St. Ray's middle school CYO team.
Oh man, we had a crew. Like I said, that 7th grade year, me, Corey Fisher, Shane Dinelli, Charles Vassar, Scotty Drohan, we had a crew. And we would play 72 games season. We would play in the CYO. We would play in the CYO, and there was like another league we played in. I would see something. We played in that. That was amazing. So we barely practiced. It was either a game or go to Sizzler. The Sizzler used to be across the street right there.
Yeah, I remember that Sizzler right on East Tremont.
Yeah, so we would go to the games, and after games go to Sizzler. It was cool. Me and Corey Fisher used to, after school, go buy Popeye's biscuits and 50-cent sodas. That's all we can afford.
Yeah,
that was our pregame meal. We would take that walk to Popeye's in Parkchester and get Popeye's biscuits and 50-cent sodas. Yeah, man, that was our pregame meal, man.
I miss them sodas when they were 50 cents.
Nah, stay away from them nutties, man.
Nah, but yeah. Nah, so I thought Corey Fisher went to IS 174. But so that was after, right? Okay.
So Corey left in 7th grade. He left in the middle of the season and transferred to IS 174.
Got you.
But he was at St. Raymond's. He was one of the reasons why I went to St. Raymond's.
So as far as the high school decision went, St. Ray's was down the block, and you love Rice. What made Rice the final decision?
Like I said, as a kid, I used to go watch Rice practice at Gauchos. I was good with Gary this season. He was leaving to go to Richmond, but I used to go to Young World, kick it with Mo Higgs. Dwayne Mitchell was there, who I've known since I was a little kid. So, like just me, it was just like I felt like I was built to be a part of that Rice culture. You had guys, Russell Robinson, like my 8th grade year, you had Russell Robinson and Tori Dubois, they were sophomores. Wimi Fujiku, they had Kiki Clark, they had Jason Wingate, Shagary, they won the championship. Steve Burt Jr., who, took me under his wing a lot. It's funny, I used to watch the Rice play. Steve Burt Jr. used to take a lot of charges. And when I got to Rice, that 8th grade year, I used to watch them when I was in 7th grade. They're Steve Burnham Jr.
Right.
And that my 7th grade year, I was like, man, I'm gonna start taking charges like Steve Burt. And I literally started taking charges that year. And I would probably say I probably could beat Steve on this record. I would probably say there's no one in New York City basketball that's taking more charges than me. it'll probably be me and Kemba Walker up there. Kemba Walker always leads the NBA in charges. You know, not only can he score, he's a all-star player. You know what I'm saying? He does everything to help the team win. And that was kind of the Rice mentality. It was so much talent at Rice, right? And I didn't know I was going in there to play varsity as a sophomore. You know, I was just going in to compete. You know, you wanted to play and be around those better players so you can get better. You know, at a fifth and sixth grader watching Kevin Bell, Kenny Satterfield, Andre Barrett, Andre Sweet, Kyle Cuff, and those guys, to, you know, the Kikis and Jake Wingates and Steve Burst, to the Russell Robinson, to be on a team with Russell and Arturo. Like, I used to watch Russell and Arturo when they were, you know, 13 years old playing Riverside versus Gauchos. You know what I'm saying? So it was an honor, you know, and you know, Mo Hicks treated guys fairly, and you know, he wanted to win. And you just want to be a part of a winning program. I think a lot of times kids more so worry about playing time and worry about if I'm going to go and be the man. Like, at Rice, you knew you was going to be part of a winning program, a winning culture. So that's kind of what did it for me. I think it would have been kind of like the easy transition to go from St. Lawrence Middle School to St. Lawrence High School. Kind of wanted to challenge.
So if the season had stayed at St. Ray's, do you think he would have had a chance of getting you?
I still would have went to Rice.
Fair enough. For all the Rice people out there, you guys were safe.
Yeah, I still would have went to Rice.
So where does Edgar and Kurt Kelly come in?
Man, so Edgar was playing with his Dykeman team locally. He was also playing with Riverside. And we would beat them all the time. We would beat them. Him, Malcolm Grant, Tyrone Nash. Like, we would beat them all the time. There would be battles, but we beat them. And then one time, Edgar was telling me, he was like, yo, man, I think I want to come play with you guys. And I was just like, hey, like, let's do it. Like, let's get Edgar over. This is like sixth grade. I'm like, man, this is like the end of the sixth grade summer. I'm like, man, we got to get Edgar on our team. Like, so I was telling my coaches, and, you know, my coach, Dwayne Campbell, he played basketball, Rucker, Dykeman on. So, you know, he went over there to the Dykeman community and was able to get Edgar to come on over. And, you know, like I said, that's been my best friend ever since. Seventh grade season, you know, me, Jonathan Ruiz, my guy Sammy the Bull from Harlem, we were the big men. And I remember running up against Derek Character in hoop group, and I had to guard Derek Character. And he destroyed us, man. You know, we talking about a 6'8", 13-year-old, 250 pounds. I was, you know, 6'1", $120. We was like, man, we gotta get us a center. We gotta get us a big man.
Well,
so we went to the CYO championships, and we saw this big kid they told us about, and he had on sweatpants because they had no shorts to fit him. But sure enough, that was Curtis Kelly. And before the game, we were like, yo, we're sold. Like, a couple of us went up there, we were like, we're sold. And then seeing him play, it was like, yo, like, this dude is big, but he moved like a guard. Like, you know what I'm saying? Smooth left hand. He's like baby Lamar Odom, right? He's like Lamar Odom, but looks like Kevin Garnett. So, like, you know, wore number 21 and everything. But, you know, he had the left spin move. He had the little short fade away. So, like, course dunk and everything. So we got Curtis, you know, in seventh grade, right before the Nationals, right when the school season ended in March. That's when we got Curtis. We took him to our first tournament, and he gelled right in. It was amazing. Like I said, I just saw Kurt, you know, and then he stayed in working out and everything. So, like I said, these guys are my brothers from the start.
So, legend has it that you got Edgar into Rice that first week.
So we can't say I got Edgar into Rice because his talent. And we talking about the best guard in the city, right? Him and Curtis Kelly were the best two players in the city. You could put either one on one, you could put either one two, right? It's like the Biggie and Pac argument, right? For our class. If you like guards, you're gonna put Edgar one. You like bigs, you're gonna put Kurt one, right? But there was no one in our class better than them two guys. So you know, Edgar really didn't figure out the high school thing yet. And I'm just like, man, like, dog, you gotta come to Rice. Like, it's no brainer. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I knew we had, you know, myself, Chico, Vincent Johnson, who's now the coach at Robert Morris, assistant coach at Robert Morris. Congrats to him.
Shout out to Chico.
Trayvon Charles, we had him. So I knew we needed a point guard. And I'm just like, man, like, why would I even allow my brother, like, you know what I'm saying, to not go to Rice? Like, his talent deserved to be on that level, you know what I'm saying? And I called Mo Hicks and was like, hey, man, we got to get Edgar into Rice. He's like, man, have him come to school with you tomorrow, first day of school. And he came to school. He wasn't enrolled yet, but we got him enrolled, you know, the next day. And the rest was history. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about scholarship to Louisville, you know, city champion, you know what I'm saying? Multiple Big East championships, multiple championships in Europe, you know, rookie of the year in the Italian league, like star. So, you know, I can't say I got him in, you know, but it was like his talent got him in. But it was just like I was making sure he got it. I wasn't gonna leave him out. Curtis was gonna go to Hollows. People don't know that.
Right.
Curtis Kelly was damn near enrolled in Hollows, had his summer paperwork and everything. And he was like, "You really still going to Rice?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to Rice." And he changed his mind. He came to Rice with me as well.
Wow. Just like
So
just
I
like
was
that.
I was kind of an agent back then in 2002.
Wow, that's crazy. So, did you start out playing freshman?
Yeah, I played freshman. Me, Edgar, you know, Vincent Johnson, Trayvon Charles, Mike Howard, Kevin Shaw, R.I.P. Like, we played freshman. We lost in the quarterfinals or the semifinals to Malloy. They had Milan Predanovic, fucking Serbian left-hand kid. He's actually was my college roommate, so funny story. But yeah, we lost to those guys. And then Curtis played JV. And then our sophomore year, we all played varsity.
How was that first year on varsity?
Oh, the first year on varsity was crazy. I actually got hurt the first official day of practice. I got hurt. I sprained the ligament in my left knee.
Dang.
So I was out until early January. So coming back to practice, like I said, I didn't even expect to get in a rotation. You know, Russell Robinson, Wayne Fajiku, Tasco Brown, Jarrell Mills, Teddy Mack. We had guards, you know. And then by the time the playoff time came, you know, Mohik started playing me, Edgar, and Curtis a little bit more, getting us ready for the following season. So it was good. We lost in the quarterfinals to Severian. Semifinals. We lost in the semifinals to Severian my sophomore year. But it was a great experience learning from those guys. Like, you know, I'm still able to talk to Russell Natoro. You know, me and Natoro talked for 2 hours last week over the phone. So just being around those guys is major, and they, you know, they helped me become a leader.
Now, before we get into the later Rice years, let's talk about you with the Chos in high school. Talk about those Gauchos years.
Oh, man, those was amazing. Like I said, me, Edgar Sosa, Curtis Kelly, but also we had Darryl Crawford, right, who went to Hollows. You know, he was their best player. He, you know, went on to Iona College, you know, 1,000-point scorer there, right? We had Terrell McKenzie and Louis Guzman, who were the two best players at Paramus Catholic. You know, so like we had a team full of guys who were the best players at their high school. So it was amazing. There was no hate. There was no animosity. You know, we went out and we beat teams in a row. You know, Book Richardson was our coach. You know, he had a real up-tempo style. It was fun. He made things fun. It was amazing. So we played in a lot of tournaments. We played against a lot of great players, you know, all around the country. Some of these guys you see in the NBA now, we done played against at 15, 16. So it was good. It was an amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for the world.
So how many what like when you were younger, your high school years, what were some of the local tournaments that you liked playing in?
Ross Strickland was my favorite tournament. My favorite tournament. One thing about it, they had the biggest trophies in the city, so that was amazing. But all the teams, like I think we got a problem now. A lot of the New York teams don't play in the local tournaments. All of the teams from Gauchos, Riverside, the Panthers, it was called New Heights was called Washington Heights Warriors back then. So like St. Mary's had their team. So you had all of the top teams in the city played in one tournament. So you would play against all the best players. So it was fun. After Ross Strickland, I would go with UDC. UDC was an amazing summer tournament uptown. Citywide, the wintertime and the summertime was one of my favorites. Nike Riverside was a solid tournament. Gaucho Round Ball was always fun because Gaucho Round Ball I always played on my birthday. My birthday's October 10th, so we always played on my birthday. Always had great games. Some other local tournament. Young World was amazing because Mo Hicks, if you win Young World, he gave you like, you know, Nike book bag, Nike sweatsuit. If you got MVP, get a pair of Nike sneakers. The Nike Swish was in the Bronx site was in my neighborhood in 131 Park.
131,
I always tell Saquon, you can check the records. I know I'm the leading scorer in the Bronx site history for Nike Swish. I've been out there. I was out there getting 30, so I got a lot of championships there, you know, playing in my neighborhood. And for sure, the Watson, you know, at 13, I started playing Unlimited in Watson. I played Unlimited in Watson's. I was 13. I was playing 16 under high school division, you know, so that was another fun tournament growing up to play in.
You was everywhere.
Oh yeah, I was everywhere. I never had to go to summer school, none of that stuff. So, you know, I just played. You know, I played in all the tournaments, man. You know, it didn't matter.
So talk about Book back then, during those days.
Book was amazing. So crazy story. We had 7th grade, 8th grade. We had 3 coaches, 2 years. Then ninth grade Book comes, and I'm just like, man, I'm tired of another coach. Damn, like, it's crazy. So I wound up not going to nationals with my Gaucho team, 15U. I wound up going to the 8th grade nationals, 14U, but I was still 14 with the Lightning. Me, Corey Fisher, Melquan Bolden, Malcolm Snoop Pope, you know, Cafelli. We had a crew. We went there. We lost in the Final Four, actually. But so when I came back, that was about to be my 9th going into 10th grade year. And, you know, Book was like, yo, listen, man, you know, you're the leader of this team. You know, your teammates love you. You know, I didn't even know him and Dana went to high school together. That's why I guess it was no problem. He was just like, man, listen, you know, we're going to build a relationship. And Book started picking me up from school at Rice, you know, taking me with him to go see other games. And he was coming to our practices at Rice, asking Mo Hicks, you know, what did he need to do in our Gaucho practice to help us get better, prepare us for the varsity level. So, like, he was an amazing big brother, mentor, uncle, whatever you want to call it. You know, he was way more than a coach. He only felt like a coach when we played games. And even sometimes then he didn't, you know. It felt like playing for a family member. And like I said, I just spent a whole day with him today. And he's still the same person. He still treats everyone with love and respect. And it's like a lot of my values in this basketball world come from, you know, him, come from being around him. He got love across the whole country because he treated people with respect. You know, he didn't bow down to anyone, but he treated people with respect and he handled his business. So I owe a lot to that man as well.
Yo, I gotta get Book on here. That's my guy too.
Yeah.
I gotta get, because nobody's gonna tell his story better than I would.
Exactly.
But all right, from Book, let's go to Mo Hicks. What was playing for him like?
If you ain't played defense, your ass wasn't getting in the game. That was first thing. But I always like to play defense. I was slow, but I always like to play defense. I got a joy out of, you know, letting somebody know they couldn't score on me. So then with Mo Hicks, we played man-to-man. We pressed. We didn't play no zone. We denied 1 pass away, help side defense, if you 2 passes away. So with Mo, it was just more so like, yo, if you're going to play defense, you're going to have freedom on offense. And like I said, I was playing with Edgar Sosa and Curtis Kelly. Like, I was going to be open. You know what I'm saying? I was going to be open. So it was fun. My senior year, I actually played the power forward. But he allowed me to be the trail guy. You know, I had mismatches, bring up the ball. If Edgar was hot, he'll let me play a little point guard. You know, so it was fun. You know, playing for Mo Hicks was great. Dwayne Mitchell, you know, was great. Like, you come out the game and, you know, Dwayne is right there as an assistant coach letting you know what you could have been doing different, you know, what you did wrong, helping you there. So it was great having those guys.
Shout outs to Mo and Mitch, man. Mitch,
Yeah, for sure.
I remember them days when he used to chase me out of Gauchos because I didn't have the best grades. Was he doing that to Rice kids too?
Nah, Rice kids, we had grades, man. We went to class. You know, you had to get a 70 in Rice to pass. There was no 65 or 60. Yeah. You had to have a 70 just to pass. And then, you know, honor roll, there was some incentives for honor roll. So, you know, in Rice, when you come in and you go to the cafeteria, there was the honor roll list hanging up for the whole school to see. So the goal was to make the honor roll. And, you know, I was making honor roll all the time.
We gonna get into that in a minute. So how was Rice the school throughout the whole 4 years? Because you, like, all your life you were into co-ed schools, and now you had to go to an all-boys school. Like, what was the culture shock like in the beginning?
It wasn't a culture shock because, like, me playing basketball, I knew a lot of people. So it was fun. It was all jokes. You know, there was no girls there, so we were just, you know, doing work and cracking jokes, playing basketball. It was fun, man. Like I said, I'm still friends with over 200 guys I went to high school with that didn't play on the basketball team.
Jesus Christ, 200.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, like, again, it was 400 students in the school. So, like, you know, it was small. Everyone knew each other. Everyone rocked with each other. So, like, from freshman to sophomore to seniors, like, yeah, I think I was in there 4 years. So Like, you didn't have to just play basketball to be someone in Rice. You know, everyone was empowered. And if you did play basketball and you stunk it up, you was going to hear about it the next day from your classmates.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Now, one more thing about Rice the school. The jams, the Rice parties. Talk about those for a minute.
Yeah, we had Rice parties on Saturdays, you know. So it was fun, you know, it was only for the boys and it was girls from everywhere. So, you know, those parties were fun.
Yeah, at Eagle, we had parties like those too.
You ain't had parties like Rice, but y'all had parties.
I believe that. I believe yours was better. But let's talk about your junior year.
Yeah. My junior year, our first trip was in Hawaii, the Unltd Classic. We beat Fairfax from California. They had Jamal Boynton, who now works for the Lakers. He went to Duke, Donzel American. Jaron Shipp. They had some good players. We beat them in the semifinals. We wound up playing Severian from Brooklyn, Levansfield, Saquon Stones, Jamal Nixon, and those guys. We wound up playing them in the championship. We beat them by 20. And we had a good junior year. You know, we figured we had a chance to win it all. We know it was only one team that really gave us problems, was Christ the King. We lost to them twice that year, both times. The first time we were up 11 points with 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the fourth quarter, and we lost. Played them again. That was at Christ the King.
Okay.
Christ the King. At Christ the King. We were up 11 with 1 minute and 10 seconds left and lost. And then senior night, we're up 25 at halftime. They came back and beat us in overtime.
Jesus Christ.
So we knew, that's the team we were going to play in the championship. So there was our quarterfinal game. It was our first playoff game. We had a bye because we went to Bronx, Manhattan, so we went straight to the quarterfinals. And we're playing Holy Cross. We're playing Holy Cross at Malloy High School. We're winning. It's a tight game the whole game. And fourth quarter, we're losing. And this guy, Mustafa, on our team, he was probably like our eighth or ninth man. And he came in the game and he saved the game for us. Saved it. Like, he had about 12 points in the fourth quarter for us. Huge. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know Holy Cross didn't expect that, but that was the thing about Rice. On any given day, someone else could step up. You know, this was a senior. He didn't want to see his season end. So it was major, you know. So shout out to Staff. You know, he's coaching at Scanlon right now as well. But like I said, he was major for us. So, you know, we won that. We won the semifinal game. And the semifinals, Severian had to play Christ the King. So we like, yo, listen, we need Severian to beat Christ the King because, like, we done lost to them twice. We done beat Severian by 20. You know, we could beat them. We lost them at Severian. We beat them at Gauchos. So we beat them twice that year, and they beat us once. We wound up playing them in the championship, and we lost to them by 1 point in the championship game. So, you know, that was tough. You know, my sophomore year, losing in the semifinals. My junior year, making it to the championship, and it's like, all right, we're going to win this one. And we lost. You know, that was tough.
So then comes the biggest year of all, senior year. On that team, man, you guys had a bunch of talented seniors. You, Kurt, Edgar, Trayvon Charles, Chico.
Vincent Johnson, Kevin Shaw. That was our seniors.
And then you guys had the younger guys like Kemba, Chris Fouch.
Well, Chris Fouch, Dorvell Carter, Durand Scott, Momo Jones, Jordan Henriquez Roberts, Jovan Deere. Like, we had a crew. You know, our young boys, they were ready to play early on. You know, we were 11, 12 strong. You know, and we encouraged them. They didn't play with us in practice. We played the seniors versus the sophomores every day in practice, and it helped them and it got them better. You know.
There's another, like, a story similar to with Edgar. That Dorvell, like, in a couple of interviews, he mentioned that too.
So Dorvell was a freshman at St. Raymond's, and we were in Hawaii my junior year. We were in Hawaii Christmas time, and he called me and he was like, "Yo," he's like, "Man, I need to transfer to Rice." I'm like, "All right, say no more." And I go to Mohicks. I think we were like at the beach or something. I go to Mohicks, like, "Yo, Dorvell want to transfer." you want to come to Rice? He's like, all right, give me his number. Gave him the number. Mo called him from Hawaii, like, yo, be at school on Monday. And Dorvell came to school on Monday. He was in there. He never had no sit down with Mo or anything. His cousin, Science Matt went to Rice in the 90s. The older cousin Majestic went to St. Raymond. So everybody was familiar. So there was no sit downs, no nothing. It was like, yo, get little bro in the school. And we got him in.
Yeah, man. So going back to your senior year, there was one time in that season where you were named Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Yeah.
I remember that clipping. So how did it feel being mentioned in the paper? I think it was the Daily News.
Daily News,
your academics.
Here's the thing, man. My mom's a school teacher.
Mm.
So she didn't play that, messing up in school. And again, like I said, I used to enjoy seeing my name hanging up on the honor roll. So I did what I had to do for class. I remember my junior year, I had the Spanish class, and Edgar was in advanced Spanish. And I had decent grades in Spanish. I was in the 80s. And Edgar would text me like, yo, I'm grading your test right now. Like, you got a couple questions wrong. I fixed it for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I helped you out, with my homework, my papers. We looked out for each other. So he would help my 87s get the 90s, It wasn't like I was failing. He was changing the grades. Like,
right.
I was getting 87s. He was helping me get 90s,
Well, luckily the school is closed now, so y'all can't get in trouble for that.
Yeah.
But so the city championship game comes, and you guys play Christ the King again.
So we had that year. We lost 5 games total. One of them was to Christ the King at their gym. But that game, championship game 06, we were down 18 points in the second quarter.
And you had the famous shot.
Well, at first, forget the shot. We were just like, man, this can't be again. Like, we done, as sophomores, we got here, we lost in the semifinals. Last year, we lost by 1 point. Like, we got to get this one. And Chris Fouch came off the bench, hit some clutch jumpers. Kemba came in, got some clutch plays as well. He had like a crazy N1. He had some steals. Everybody did their part. Chico, Trayvon, of course, Edgar and Curtis. I don't think I was playing my best offensively, but their best player, Larry Davis, I kind of had him. I was guarding him, and I fouled him out early in the fourth quarter. I took 3 charges on him in the fourth quarter. Fouled him out early on. And, we knew, like, all right, the momentum is changing. Here come us to make our run. So it's 60-58. We're winning. Irvin Walker's at the free throw line. He's a sophomore on their team. Irvin makes 2 free throws. It's 60-60 with about 8 seconds left. So we call a timeout. We're at half court. We get over half court. We call a timeout. And the play was to just take the ball out, get it to Edgar, and just move out the way. Edgar's going to bring us home. Of course, Malik Booth was going to deny him the ball. So the next option was for Trayvon to get it to me. I look high-low over the top to Kurt Kelly, let him finish in the paint and, take us home. Trayvon got me the ball. I don't know if Kurt was open or he wasn't, or I don't know if I looked, but I got it, squared up, took a hard dribble right, and shot a floater off the top of the glass, and it went in. Shot went in at the buzzer, and we won the game 62-60. And it was an amazing feeling. That was probably my first game-winning shot, of a game in a game that big. So it was an amazing feeling. 17 years old, had all my family, my friends at the game. I actually took I didn't even drive home back with my parents. Me and my friends from my neighborhood, we took the bus back together.
Wow.
We all took the bus back from Fordham Road. Yeah, it was amazing feeling. So, and the best thing about it was the papers had wrote that we weren't going to win that year, and they thought Christ the King was going to be the favorite.
Wow.
So, yeah, so winning the championship was major for us.
Then y'all had to play them again the next week.
Yeah, so we had to play them again next week. We beat them by a lot of points that time, double digits.
Wasn't Larry Davis, didn't he get ejected that game?
He didn't get ejected. He fouled out. some things happened outside, and that led to him being suspended for that next game.
So he found out at the first game.
Yes.
Damn.
And he got suspended for the second game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Bad for them, but good for you guys.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were on a roll.
So, State Federation tournament. How was it playing against Lance Stevenson when he was a freshman?
I mean, it was cool. Lance always had talent, but again, he was a freshman. We were a senior-led team. It wasn't nobody was worried. You know what I'm saying? Not taking anything from Lance. He was an incredible talent, but we wasn't going in there talking about they got Lance. You know what I'm saying? They won the city championship in public school. We won in Catholic school. Mount Vernon was the team that got the bye that year. We had beat Mount Vernon already by 25. So we wasn't worrying about them. I think we was just like, we kind of overlooked Lincoln a little bit as well in the semifinal game, and wound up losing Lincoln by 4 points in the semifinals of the state federations. Because we just knew that, once we beat Lincoln, we can beat Mount Vernon again by 20.
Yeah, I know it hurt to end that season that way.
Yeah, it did. It did. It hurt. Like I said, that was we lost 5 games that year. That was tough, and then we didn't lose a game in about a month and a half before that, maybe 2 months.
So
we beat some good teams that year. So
graduation rolls around. I know that y'all had it at St. Patrick's Cathedral. I know that was a big happy day.
Yeah. Graduation was amazing. We had a party. We had like a party for everyone. My boys square off. Shout out to those guys.
Trips and Slim, I remember them.
Trips and Slim. Their dad threw us a graduation party at Riverbank.
Dougie Fresh.
Shout out to Doug Fresh. We all went over there. We had like a graduation party, so that was amazing. That was our graduation on Thursday. Edgar was leaving for college on Saturday. So he had to start summer school in June. Everybody else started in July. So it was a happy day, but it was like, man, like we're no longer in school together no more, all of us. Like, so it was a little emotional, but it was a blessing.
Fast forward to 5 years later, Rice unfortunately closed. Like, how did it feel seeing that, that place that gave you your diploma, that place that was kind of like a second to you, closed?
It hurt because, I used to go 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, I would go to Rice. I would go up in there as much as I can, see the teachers, see the students, go to the practices, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would look out for those guys the way the Russell Robinson, the Toro Dubois, Andre Barris, and those guys looked out for me, Kenny Satterfield. So, like, I would go do the same. So it was sad seeing Rice close his doors. Not only for just Rice basketball, just for the community. People in Harlem enjoy going to see Rice play. Kids wanted to go to Rice High School, whether you was from Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem, or the Bronx. People wanted to go to Rice High School, so it was sad seeing it close.
So, I mean, I know you've discussed, possibly trying to bring it back. What would you name, like, would it be like the Rice School or the Rice Academy or still Rice High School?
Well, we got to figure that stuff out, with the legal system and everything, but, they're going to know it's Rice. Yeah. We get it back, they're going to know it's Rice.
I hope that someday that they could bring that back, because that school's like the cornerstone of Harlem.
If we got to call it Escuela Aros, we're going to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? We're going to figure it out.
Yeah. So, what was your recruitment like in high school?
It was a little over the place. Drexel, Marist, Iona, Manhattan, good mid-major programs that won. That was the biggest thing for me. I wanted to go to a team that won. And I was going to wind up committing to Manhattan College. And I was calling the coaches to let them know I was committing. Well, probably like 2 days before I was going to call them and tell them that I was coming to Manhattan, they called me and said that they were taking a job at Seton Hall and would I like to join. And I just like, yeah, no question. I'm all in. Like, I wasn't going to Manhattan for the school. I was going because, I thought the fit and the coach, and I built a relationship with the coaches. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go with you guys. So I wound up going to Seton Hall University my freshman year.
Talk about, you know, the 1 year that you had at Seton Hall.
I went from, you know, one of the best players on the national powerhouse Rice team to back at the bottom, being a freshman again. And, you know, I think a lot of freshmen, you know, expect to play right away. And, you know, sometimes it's okay to wait your turn. And I wasn't thinking that. When the team was struggling, we were losing games. And, you know, I think I wasn't getting treated fairly. And it wasn't like I was being biased. It was where my teammates were telling me, like, yo, you know what I'm saying, you should be playing more and things like that. Like, you know, you should look to transfer. So I did that, decided to transfer because I just didn't think it worked out there for me. So
Like,
I decided to transfer.
How was it, you know, playing for Bobby G?
Playing for Bobby G was tough. Like I said, I played for some yellers, I played for some screamers, but, you know, it was tough. You know, he was hard on guys. It was tough. A lot to deal with.
So, like, with the release situation, like, because I know there's a lot of problems with players getting their release papers. Like, how was that situation?
You heard about that one? How'd you hear about that? You've been doing your homework, huh?
Hey Now podcast.
Okay. Shout out to Kev, Jennings, Shaq, Gabby, all the guys in the Hey Now podcast. So, crazy story. Bobby Gonzalez wanted me to come back to Seton Hall and just maybe redshirt my sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
Redshirt my sophomore year, get strong and everything. And I was like, nah, like I'm not playing no more. Want my release? Well, I'm not giving you a release. So I called Russell Smith Sr. and told him that Bobby Gonzalez wasn't giving me a release. About an hour later, I got a call from the coaches saying, coach is going to give you a release. He just wants to meet with your parents, but you can't come to the meeting. So he literally took the release forms to my house and met with my parents.
This is Bobby G, right?
Yes, Bobby G.
He came all the way up to Bronxdale to hand their parents the release.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because he didn't want to originally give it to me. He wanted me to stay.
Well, that was that situation. Like, what made you decide to go to Iona?
That's what I was going to transfer to in January. I was going to leave in the middle of the season. But I didn't. And then in the season, you know, they had a new coach and everything. I decided to go there. Sheen Holloway, who was assistant coach he was a director of ops at Seton Hall with me. Great mentor, great guy, you know, talk to, work out with. He was also going to Iona, the coach, so it was someone I knew already. So that was a major thing. Dan McCall, he was a assistant coach at Iona. Great relationship with him. So it was like, let's just go here. Let's do it.
So you only got to play that 1 year at Iona, right?
Yeah, I had to sit out a year because NCAA transfer rules and didn't get no waivers, didn't even apply for any waivers, things like that. It was you transfer, you sitting out. There was no waiver system and all of that. So I sat out a year. We were 12-20 that year. Only about 3 guys were new to the team. And then the following year, we had a bunch of freshmen. Scott Machado, Trinity Fields, Jamel Jenkins, Mo Hicks Jr. I know I'm missing some guys, but we had like 7, 8 freshmen that year. It was a rough season to start. And like I said, I played for the Gauchos. We won a lot. I played for Rice. We won a lot. And this losing thing was new to me. It was losing as a freshman at Seton Hall, sitting out a year, but still on the bench room with your teammates and seeing them lose 20 games. And I don't think I lost 20 games in my high school career. So lose 20 games in the season was crazy. So it was something new to me, and it was like it was weighing a lot. It was putting a lot of weight on my shoulders, and I'm just like, man, this is not fun. Like, you know, losing isn't fun. You know, winning, no matter if you score 2 points or 40 points, winning is amazing. You know, that's the mentality I had, and I kind of got bored with it. I got bored with the game. I can't only blame it on losing, you know, some other things, but I was bored. And I knew, like, hey, you know, I don't have to sit here and because I'm on scholarship and stay and play. I knew I wasn't going to give my all. And it wouldn't be fair to my teammates and the coaches and the fans and everything if I didn't give my all. You know, I would just go out there and wait till the clock to hit 0. Like, no, I'm just going to remove myself from the team. And I did that.
So how was that oh, yeah. First, let's talk about that game where you scored, like, I think 20 points. And then I think you got benched.
we're on like a 5-game losing streak, or we lost 4 out of the last 5. We lost 4 out of the last 5, right? We lost 4 games in a row. We played at LIU. I had scored double figures off the bench, and we won the game. We had lost 4. We had lost 4 in a row. We won that game. That was a Thursday evening or Wednesday evening. On Saturday, we played against St. Francis, Pennsylvania, and he decided to start me. I scored 22 points. And we now have a 2-game winning streak, and they write in the newspaper, Kashif Pratt, Iona Gales, after losing 4 in a row, have now won 2 straight, with the emergence of Kashif Pratt, career high 22 points, and that was it. When I left the team, this same reporter wrote a 3-page article about me leaving the team.
Yeah, that Daily News article. I remember you were sitting. They took a shot of you sitting in that baseline right by the basket, the Big East tournament.
The Big East tournament watching Edgar Sosa and Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
And Truck Bryant. Truck Bryant was playing there as well. I always supported my brothers, whether I was playing or not playing. Always support those guys.
Now the conversation.
Shout out to Truck and his, Truck Bryant podcast. Yeah. Everything unmatched.
LA Clipping. Nah, he got to get you as a guest at some point.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So, that conversation with Shaw and Willard, what was that like?
For me, it was just like being honest as possible. Like, hey, listen, think I'm gonna remove myself from the team. I'm just not feeling it right now. And they was just like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah. And they was just like, they were supportive. They knew that I was gonna be great. As something other than basketball. I think no one thinks while they're playing, let me figure out plan B. I think everybody waits till they finish playing. But for me, it was like why wait till I'm 35, 40? Like, let's figure it out now. I'm 20. Let's figure it out now. Let's get ahead of this. So that's what I did.
How's your relationship with Willard and Shaw now?
Oh, amazing. I talk to Shaw every week. I still go to Seton Hall. Willard is coaching at Seton Hall now. I go to Seton Hall games. I get great seats. You know what I'm saying?
I told you in them seats too.
I told Kadeem Carrington it'd be great for him to go there. Play for Coach Willard. Mm-hmm. Remember, Kadeem was part of that 2014 class with him, Isaiah Whitehead, Desi, Angel. Kadeem was the first one that committed there.
Yeah, he did.
It was never no. I had no hate towards them. If I felt it was the right situation, it was the right situation. So I speak to those guys. I see those guys on AAU trips. We just last summer at the Peach Jam, me and Coach Willard took a picture together. I sent it to all my teammates at Iona. Wow. So it's never I got no ill will against those guys.
That's what's up, man. So for those college players that were in your situation, what kind of advice would you give them?
Be truthful with yourself and don't worry about what others think, right? If you feel this isn't for you, like, speak up. Don't hide it, don't hold it in, and don't half-ass it. Like, if you don't want to play anymore and you're not gonna give it your all, then step away. If you want to finish out college, like, make sure you give it your all, and then after college stop playing, do that. But don't half-ass the situation. Give it your all. You owe it to yourself, to your family, to your friends. There was, I plenty of times I thought about leaving early in the season. It was like, I owe it to my family, my friends, and the staff for giving me a scholarship. Let me stick this thing out, let me play. And it got to a point where I was like, nah, I'm done. But I had to have that conversation with myself first. I didn't need validation. I didn't need permission from anyone. It was me having that conversation with myself. I had teammates and friends, and Edgar would call me like, yo, man, just go back, go back to the team, like, So it was fine. And those guys supported me. I would go to Iona games that season, the season after, go hang out with those guys, party with them. Like, those guys supported me.
Yeah. I love Iona. I love covering them games. I just wish I miss the old gym, man.
Yeah, the new gym is nice. It's all about change. Okay, it's about evolving.
Right, but I feel like it's smaller than the old gym. The old gym is a little bigger, what I'm saying? It was more room. Like, I feel like the new gym is kind of tight. You know what I'm saying?
It's tight because they put more seating.
Probably, yeah. Yeah, I miss the old gym, but the new gym is pretty cool, you know.
Yeah.
So you finished out at John Jay. Like, talk about your senior year academically at John Jay.
Well, best thing about John Jay was I was a criminal justice major, and all my credits transferred. When I transferred from Seton Hall, Iona, all my credits didn't transfer. It was like I kind of went back a class. Yeah, so when I got to John Jay, they got my transcripts, and all my classes from Seton Hall, Iona, all of them went through. So John Jay was cool. I had a couple classes to take. I took some night classes that first semester. I did a semester and a half there. I mean, I did a year and a half there. I did one semester, and then I did one semester my junior year, the spring semester, and then the fall and the spring my senior year. So the spring semester, because I enrolled in late my junior year, I had to take night classes. So I took all night classes. So, you know, it was pretty dope because it was mostly adults in the class. The teachers were officers and lawyers, so sometimes they missed class and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fun. You
Talk
know,
about
my mom graduated from my mom went to John Jay.
Mm.
My wife graduated from John Jay, and I graduated from John Jay. So it's a good thing.
That's what's up. Y'all could whenever there's events at John Jay, y'all could all wear your college hoodies and all that.
I don't actually have any.
You could always get them when the school opens back up.
Yeah, I can always get something.
Talk about, you know, getting that college degree.
Oh, it was an amazing feeling, getting a college degree, because that's kind of like, you know, you left the team, but it's like, all right, you know, you're still going to finish out. I only had a year and a half left. I wasn't going to just quit school. So the goal was just getting that degree, and it felt good. I broke out a brand new pair of Jordan Space Jams shoes to wear to my college graduation in 2010, and it's an amazing feeling.
That was my senior year of high school, man. So yeah, that's crazy. Me and you, we're 4 years apart, and our birthdays are 4 days apart.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, 4 is a lucky number.
Yeah, for sure. You gotta play that. You gotta play lotto.
Word.
Or buy a $4 scratch off.
Facts. So after college, you know, how hard was it finding, you know, not playing ball anymore? Like getting job applications were tough. Like, how was like that after college life like in the beginning?
It was rough. It was rough. I was unemployed that summer before my senior year. My mom got me a job, you know, as a substitute teacher at her school, you know, doing kindergarten, and kind of it was a path I thought I could go in, but I really didn't want to. I started looking into sports agent business. That was something I wanted to do. I started emailing different agencies, telling them, you know, I'm a senior, about to graduate, looking for a job out of college. I emailed about 15 to 20 different sports agencies. I didn't get one email back. Not one. Told them where I played at, everything, you know, coaches I knew, nothing back. I still have those emails, nothing back. And it's funny because some of those guys I emailed, I know this day. Yeah, I should show some of them. But
that's crazy.
yeah, 10 years ago. Yeah, 10 years ago from right now. And I got nothing back. And I just like, you know what, you got to just put your head down and grind and understand there ain't going to be no handouts.
Right.
And, you know, Justin Leonard gave me an internship at his company before it was Game 7. It was called 94 by 50. It was also like a collaboration with Dime Magazine and Bounce Magazine, so I did some work with them. And, you know, that led to, you know, doing some stuff at Nike with, you know, Durand Smith, Chad Easterlin, Paul Rivera, Stanley Lumax, you know, those guys. So it was good work. Terminal 23 opened 3 years later, got to work there, work with some great people, Jeff Chen and those guys. So it was good work. It prepared me. Like, you know, it's funny, heard probably about 10, 11 years ago, I read an article. Maverick Carter said, people asked him what school do you graduate from? He says, I graduated from Nike. And like, I didn't really understand it. And I think now I understand it. Like, you know, I could say like, I got my master's degree in sports from Nike.
Right.
You know, I learned a lot of things about the business without having a sports degree background, but I played it. So, you know, it was some tough times though, being in meetings where, you know, I'm the little guy in the meeting and I'm hearing people throw out suggestions and I'm like, oh no, and I try to say something and like, I'm not listening to you. You know, so that was tough. I'll tell you one crazy story. 2015, Nike wanted to make a splash in New York City All-Star Weekend, and they asked, what can we do? And I said, let's put LeBron James on the train from 34th Street to Canal Street. And everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Like, we won't even ask LeBron to do it. He would never do that. And I was like, okay, cool. And 2 years later,
He gets on the train.
The Cavs were leaving the Garden for practice, and it was traffic. And LeBron was like, let's get on the train. And LeBron got on the train. So his first time being,
I'm sure Nike was like, damn, we should have listened to Cash.
I sent out a note, funny note to everyone saying, hey, remember I said, let's do this. So it was good though, but it was no hard feelings. And that's just how it goes. And I tell young guys in this business, man, like, don't be afraid to speak up and give your ideas up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let people know that you got some good ideas. Don't hold it in. And if they don't believe you, they don't believe you. But understand you ain't gonna get no handouts. You gotta grind. You gotta put your head down and work.
Right. So I was about to. You mentioned Bounce. I wish that was still running. I wish that was still around because when Slam magazine was expensive, Bounce was always free.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that magazine. But yeah, let's talk about, you know, just working for Nike throughout that time that you were working for Nike.
Oh, it was amazing. You know, Stanley Lumax and Chad Easterling, they were running Nike basketball in New York, and they kind of empowered me to, you know, put things together in the community. You know, and I think that's what it's about. I think we get a lot of people who are in a position of power who don't empower the youth. They don't empower guys, you know, that's coming up under them pause to, you know what I'm saying, be special. And like I could say, you know, guys like Stan Lumax, Chad Easterling, Durand Smith, like, they empowered me. You know, they gave me the keys and told me, like, hey, listen, you know, we listening to you on this. You know, what you think we should do? Why should we do this? Where should we do this? What park should we renovate? You know, and I think that was major for me. You know, it made me feel special.
And then for a time, I know you were working at Under Armour. I remember seeing you with those.
I never worked at Under Armour. My contract with Nike was up. I was going to take a position at Under Armour. I had some gear. I wore it. I wound up, it was some stuff didn't go through, and I wound up staying in Nike the next 2 summers, working with Kevin Santana, Kenji Summers, you know, Rod Blaylock, those guys, Graham, Sadat. So I did that for a year and a half. And then I went back to Jordan Brand side, working at Terminal 23 and helping out with the high school. We sponsored, you know, Wings, George Westinghouse, and Monsignor Scanlon. So I kind of was, you know, working with closely me, Chad Easterling, Mike Slade, Quinn. You know, we all worked together on those projects. So it was fun. It was like being able to, you know, give back to your community. You know, I can have, you know, Jordan Brand and Nike put together plans in the places that I played. You know, I was playing in the Dykeman tournament when I was 12 years old, 11 years old, you know, when they were sponsored by N1. So to be able to go back and do projects with Dykeman, we brought the USA team there in 2016. We bring those guys there to do a clinic. We did a clinic at the Rucker, you know. So it feels good to be able to, like, you know, you working at a big corporate company like Nike and Jordan that, you know, you grew up wearing and buying their shoes. So now being an employee and being able to give back to your community is major.
Now, well, thanks for clarifying the other thing about Under Armour. So, talk about, you know, Terminal 23. Those were some good years, man.
Yeah, Terminal 23 was 2013 to December 2017. 4 years, but it was amazing. It was great basketball, a great, you know, safe haven for kids. You know, everything was free. You know, you had people questioning, you know, why you guys don't charge and things like that. And just like, man, the kids just need a place to go. We gave out free training, you know, nutrition stuff, weight room. So it was a good place.
The fact that it was like kind of like an invite only place, it made it more alluring for me. Like, I only got to go in there a couple times, but, you know, every time I was in there, it was like, yo, this place is dope.
And it also made kids, you know, want to work harder and make sure they was doing the right thing, because it wasn't just about basketball. We invited the right kids there. So make sure they was doing the right things on and off the court to be invited there. And a lot of times we would change the floor, change the, you know, the decorations, the setting. So like if you came in there, you know, once every 3-4 months, it looked different every time.
So a lot of people that are from Jersey would love to know this one. Jersey and New York. Where did Isaiah Briscoe come in?
So 2012. So first of all, Isaiah Briscoe grew up in Newark, New Jersey, 2 doors down from my college roommate, Rashawn Dwight. You know, his whole family knows, you know, Isaiah's whole family. Kyle Anderson, I got a chance to coach him in the Battle of the Boroughs. Great kid, great friend, great leader in New Jersey. You know, he has a community day, rebuilt courts, everything. You know, great guy, great family. Isaiah actually was asking Kyle for some stuff, and Kyle put Isaiah in touch with me. And, you know, he told me Kyle had gave him his number. And Melvin Johnson, who played at Rice before it closed, he was Isaiah's teammate at St. Benedict's. And, you know, we built a relationship. And I guess, you know, I was just someone he can talk to, you know, about sports and things like that. And of course, I wasn't as talented as he was, but I played with Edgar Sosa, I played with Kemba Walker, right? Chris Fouch, I played with great guards, you know, that did have his talent. So, you know, I was able to give him that advice. And I started bringing him to New York to work out with, you know, against guys like Andre Barrett, Dante Jones, Edgar Sosa, Kemba, James Feldine, and just telling him, like, hey, man, like, you're the best guard in Jersey, you know what I'm saying? You should be working out against guys that's older than you. And he loved it. You know, he wanted to get better. He knew he had stuff he had to work on. So it was good. And one thing about Isaiah, he's a hard worker. In high school, he would go to school 8 to 3 o'clock, practice, you know, 3:30 to 6, come to New York and work out with those guys at 7:30.
Wow, that's crazy.
You know, he would be doing his homework on the train, you know? So, like, you got to respect a kid that's dedicated and committed like that. And it paid off for him.
That bond that you and him have is special. Like, I remember that day the day y'all did the press conference for him committing to Kentucky. I remember that day very well because I got caught cheating on the test and I had to see some people. This is when I was at Delhi. I had to talk to somebody in one of the offices.
Yeah.
And so I had to take a math test that day for I think it was an algebra class or whatever. And then I literally glanced at my phone and I see I'm looking at the press conference a little bit while I'm taking this test. I'm like, yo, Cash is right there.
Yeah, I mean, so, you know, the family asked me to come up, you know, with them, and I was just supporting. And I wasn't getting in when he was announcing, I wasn't getting in there. I was sitting down. And, you know, his mom and dad, you know, rest in peace to his dad. His mom and dad was like, hey, you know, get up, come in and with us. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, sure. They was like, yeah, like, you family. So, you know, I wasn't going to say no. You know, at the end of the day, you know, his family supported me just as much as I supported him.
Right. So, like, what do you think? Like, I see he just bought a bodega in Newark. Like, how big is that for Isaiah? You know what I'm saying? Like, him giving back.
I mean, you know, giving back to his community, you know, investing back in his community, you know, building a store. And, you know, I talk about me trying to find my career path after basketball, right? I did it at 20. Isaiah's 24 years old. He still has, you know, 15 years left of playing basketball. But why not start his business now? You know, why wait till you retire? And I think that's great. And he's a very smart, you know, young man. And he's going to be great on and off the court.
Let's talk about your mentorship of another player, Saquon.
Yes.
He's also from the Bronx, just like you.
Yeah.
He grew up 10 minutes away from you.
He grew up a 10-minute walk from me. He lives in the building next door to my grandfather before my grandfather passed away. My grandfather lived 2 buildings away from him. My uncles lived in those buildings, so I grew up there. My cousin lives on the 9th floor in his building. You know, I used to play basketball with his dad when I was like 17. His dad was a little older than me. I always played against older guys. His dad also went to Rice. Me, him, his brother Nicole, we went to the same barbershop. So I was always around. I always saw him. You know, of course, he went to Scanlon with Dwayne Mitchell, where I was always at.
Like that. I mean, that's big. That you still have that bond with Saquon. You know.
Yeah, Saquon's a great kid. Like many of us who play basketball and from, the Soundview section, you can get a bad rep for, a lot of the violence that go on, but some of us are, good kids. Saquon and Nicole are definitely, good kids, and they handle business. And, today Saquon received his degree, his associate degree from Hutchinson Community College. Came in the middle of the day. That was an amazing thing. He's at the University of New Mexico right now, enjoying college. And, he's getting ready for a season, but he's a guy that stuck to the plan. I mean, there's been plenty of kids that I've, tried to give advice to or tell them, hey, you should do this and follow this path. And, Saquon, he said to me, he says, if you tell me, what it is I got to do, I know you're not going to tell me the wrong things. And, and he followed the script, and he went on the right path. And, he's on the road to success, and I'm happy for him.
Now,
he's got a great support system, again, like I said, with his brother and his mom, his dad, his friends, his uncles. You know what I'm saying? So it's not only just me. Everyone plays a part.
shout outs to Say, man. That's big right there.
He's been giving back and mentoring kids, just the way I did him. That's all you can ask for. Sometimes, those things are worth more than money.
That's true. So you mentioned Scanlon earlier. Like, how did it feel, like, helping them, get acquainted with Jordan Brand?
Well, Rice was closed, right? And, a lot of kids went to Rice because Rice, was the fly Nike school, and they got sneakers and things like that. And in Scanlon, they didn't really have a sponsorship like that. And, Dwayne Mitchell, he always took care of me, always, helped me out. And, that was just my way of giving back. My wife actually went to Scanlon for her freshman year, so I always tell her it's kind of like her give back as well. So it was just a way to give back, and we had a chance to sponsor them, and they've done the right things with it, and so is Wings Academy and George Westinghouse, right? So I think that's just major.
So let's talk about NYC Jam.
Mm-hmm. So NYC Jam, people don't know, it's a 2-on-2 tournament, started by Jeff Chen and myself. Jeff is a amazing mind. We were sitting down one day, and he was like, yo, like, I think we were like playing the NBA Jam on the arcade game, and he was like, yo, we should do a 2-on-2 tournament, like NBA Jam style. And I'm like, yo, let's do it. And, we got some kids, and, we gave them some uniforms, and they were down. It was like, yo, it's 2-on-2 full court. We did it the first year. We did it in 2017. We had Cam Reddish come play. Emmett Williams came and played. The winners were Jose Perez, Bryce Wills, and Luther Muhammad. Marquise Noel played. Khalil Brantley played. Malachi Smith played. Kyle Cup Jr. played. C.J. Robinson, DeMarco Watson. We had tons of guys come play. I know I'm even missing some. Mo Fafana and those guys. Dallas Watson. There's plenty of all the New York City guys. And it was just, for me, it was like, always wanted to give the kids, after playing, as soon as you finish your school season, you go right into high school, AAU ball. So I remember growing up, like me and Coach Rose talk about all the time, playing in the ATM Live tournament in Millbank. And it was kind of like after school season, it was fun. It wasn't no like real coaching. It was all the best players. We had fun. So I kind of try to want to give that feel, but in not taking their style. So we just did 2-on-2. And it was just somewhere kids could have fun. It was something different. You had to be in shape. You had to play defense as a referee, So it's just a different element because everyone's doing tournaments and all-star games. So try to bring something to the table. Because of COVID, we couldn't do it this year, but, look forward to maybe 2021.
That's big right there, man. Shout out to NYC Jam and Jeff Chen.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff Chen.
So let's talk about the agency thing, man. Now you're an agent. Like, what made you decide to go that route?
Well, I saw a lot of times that there were agencies, it's like no knock on any agent, but there's agencies that recruit guys who just play in Europe. there's agencies that recruit guys who just play in the NBA, and there's agencies that recruit both. And I saw that a lot of kids from New York City and where I grew up, you know, we weren't having many NBA guys, but we were having guys that were making legit money overseas and help provide for their families, but they didn't know how to get it started. So I was like, you know what, I got to be the guy that finds out how to get this started. And I didn't want to be known as the street agent, the unofficial guy. So I actually took 4 months out of my time and unemployed and started studying for an exam. And I took the NBPA agent exam, which Nick Blatchford, who founded New Heights, Washington Night Warriors. He's another founder, Mason Ash as well. So we have a real good group. We have some talent with us, you know, Isaiah Briscoe, Frank Howard, Jamal King, Tate Weaver, Devine Eke, Isaac Fan, Devontae Jordan, DeMarco Dickerson. You know, we got some talent. So, you know, we're building in this. You know, we're just building. We're working with good people and, you know, guys that want to get their careers going. And, you know, we're going to work for them just as hard as, you know, we work for ourselves.
So for any prospective players that would like to sign to the agency, what was the name of it?
Unltd Sports Group. They can email me. They can hit me on Instagram. My email is just kashif@unltdsports.com.
So in the event that, you know, they're looking for agency, what would be your pitch to them?
I'm not going to go over my pitch
Okay.
over
That's
here.
fair enough.
You
That's
know,
fair enough.
but like I said, you know, I want to work with guys that want to work hard and dedicated. I don't want to work with a player that just like not going to go work out, not going to train, not going to take care of his body. You know, this is a 50-50 thing. You know, if I'm working hard, you know, you should be working harder. Right? Let's do it together. And it's a partnership.
That's a good enough pitch right there. So let's talk about, you know, the city game. Like, what are some things that you like about it and some things that you wish that would change?
Let me see what I like about it. I like that a lot of guys in the city, they support each other. There's no really hate. They support you know, you see kids from other schools going to St. Raymond's, going to Scanlon to watch, you know, Malachi Smith was the first team All-Catholic League as a junior, right? I would see him at St. Raymond's games watching Kobe Bryant, who was his AU teammate, who was on his rival. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how it's supposed to be. You know, we all from New York. We support each other. Some of the things I would like to change, I would just like to see guys competing, guys going hard. I don't think kids, you know, they're afraid of competition. You know, I want to see more kids playing up. You know, I would love, and it's no knock on those guys who I have friends, but I would love to see some of the older guys, you know, stop playing the street ball and let the younger guys play unlimited, you know, or bring some of those guys to play. When I was a senior in Rice, you know, I brought Kemba as a 15-year-old to play unlimited in Dykeman with Team Posse. You know, so like I would like to see more of that. I would like to see, you know, I seen like Malachi Smith play with Ab Life, Unlimited, Rams, and those guys. I want to see more of that because when you get to college, it's gonna be older players. If you want to play professional, you know, it's gonna be older players. So don't wait till later. You know, get that done now.
So yeah, I mean that's big right there. And I think A Butter, he mentioned that on his Greg Marius before he passed. Rest in peace to Greg Marius.
A Butter was a young kid playing against Vince Carter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. But Greg was like, I don't want, like, basically he said why you know, the popularity of the Unlimited has waned. And he basically said, you know, people don't want to see guys, you know, playing when they're 35 because they've already been seen
you for 15 years. We want to see the younger talent.
And I remember one time you said, yo, if you're not playing overseas, you shouldn't be asking for such and such amounts.
Oh yeah, we get, you know, a lot of guys, I guess they want to get paid to play the street ball. Just like, come on, man, get that, you know, why don't you take that money and buy some pizza or some waters for the young kids that's playing?
Word, you know that's true.
Help them out. Some of these kids don't have money. You guys should, you know, got jobs and things like that. I just want to see, you know, more young kids get a chance. I was coaching Unlimited. I let Isaiah Washington in high school play with us. You know, Kemba was there. Kemba said, let the young boy get some run. You know, so that's the thing. You know, help the next generation out. Reach down. You know, like I said, I know I connected you with Dane Irvin. You know, Dane Irvin is one of the guys that reached down the ladder and helped me out in my career. You know, like I said, I done played against, you know, Nick Blatchford's team when I was 10, 11 years old. Here I am, 30, 31, and, you know what I'm saying, he's offered me a job opportunity of a lifetime. So, you know, it's about reaching back. That's the main thing. And we, in New York, we need to do more of that. We need to reach back.
That's true.
And if we did that, you know, things have changed, and things have changed for the better.
So that's probably one thing I wish that would change. You know, I feel like there's more unity in other cities than it is in New York. I feel like in New York, it's all about the me, which is unfortunate. And another thing I would like to see is, you know, like this one day when all the AAU programs would play against each other. You know what I'm saying? Because I was down yeah.
You was in Atlanta, you saw those top teams.
Exactly.
Playing. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon.
Yeah, man. Like, because even without the Nike teams that weekend, like things were still good, even with the independent teams. So like all the sponsored teams, all the independent teams, I feel like it should all be like they should all be together at one venue, like whether it be Lehigh or House of Sports. Like, bring the best teams. That's what I would like to see personally. But you know,
let's do it. The Dave's Joint Classic.
I'd be with it, but you know that wouldn't happen because you know I guess it's a political thing, or you know teams don't want to be embarrassed, or they feel like they have nothing to prove.
So, what if we got all the teams together and all the players they played, but they didn't play with the team name on the jersey? They just played team red, team blue, team green, team orange.
I'd be with that. I definitely would love that idea. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, this is one of the questions that I love to ask before I lead up to the last question. If you could go back in a time machine to 2009, what would you tell Cash at 20?
It's gonna be some bumps in the road, but it's gonna get better. It's gonna get better. And Cash in 2009 was unemployed, selling cigarettes in his neighborhood, selling waters and sodas at the Watson Classic before my games to make sure I had money in my pocket. And it got better. 3 years later, it got better. So just tell yourself, hey, like, it's gonna be some bumps, but it's gonna get better.
So final question, what's next in the future for Kashif Pratt and Unltd Sports Group?
Continue to build the agency. Continue to, you know, recruit and work with great players. Continue to help these young kids build futures and for themselves and their families. For them to build businesses like Isaiah Briscoe just did, and you know, can help feed and provide their families for generations. You know, I'm all about helping the next group. I always want to help the next ones up. I'm not gonna do this shit till I'm 70. I'll probably retire at 50, 55. But I wanna when I'm 50, I wanna have the next Kashif Pratt that's 25, that's ready to do it for the next 25 years, and he's mentoring the next, you know, whoever he is. That's what I want to do. I see a lot of guys in this business in their 50s and 60s, and they don't work, and then when they retire, the companies fold because they didn't build the next one up.
True.
Or they jump into, you know, leaving the business because they're out of sync and they haven't helped anyone. What good is doing it, and if you're not gonna build someone else to be better than you?
Facts. Cash.
That's what I'll do.
Thank you for coming on, man. I really
appreciate you for having me, Dave. Always support.
Indeed. I wish you and USG nothing but the best.
No, thank you. Thank you, Dave. All right.
My God.
I'll talk to you.
So, everybody, this is episode 51 of Hoops Talk with Dave's Joint. For those from Bronxdale that went to Rice High School, for those that support Cash and USG, check this interview out on YouTube, Facebook, and IGTV. Stay safe.
Sir.
Stay blessed. Peace.
Stay blessed.